Welcome, fellow watch lovers. Today we're looking at the San Martin SN020 Watch Dives Limited Edition in the dark blue. So let's take a look at the specifications of the watch. We have a top hat style sapphire crystal. Obviously has the dome to it, but it doesn't really distort much, so I'm assuming it's probably double domed. It has some AR coating to it, and the dial is quite legible. The glass is very clear. The indices pop off of the dark blue background. We have the printed San Martin logo as well as printed text at the bottom, but we do have applied indices, which are filled with BGW9 Superluminova. We have the Mercedes hands, and we have a nice symmetrical dial with a no date. The case is 316L stainless steel, a polished bezel that is very highly polished. We have brushed top of the lugs, and again, we have a very polished side of the case. We have a signed crown, which is screw down. The top of the bracelet is brushed, and the sides are polished. You have your typical San Martin clasp. This one does have brushed top, polished chamfer, and brushed sides. You have the nice milled clasp. It's a nice solid feel to it. 4 micro adjustments on the side. We have a plain case back. It does have the sun ray effect. We have circular brushing on the case back, and just the typical, generally plain San Martin case back here. It is powered by a Seiko NH35 movement, which is reliable but also keeps the cost down. I picked up this version due to that fact. Was interested in the version that's fairly similar but a little bit smaller than this one, that has the snowflake hands, which I typically prefer snowflake hands, but on this one the cost ratio outweighed getting the snowflake hands for me, as well as getting a size that I like a little bit better here. Speaking of size, we have a 39 millimeter case. Diameter, lug width is about 19.5 millimeters, tapers down to 16 millimeters. Double dome sapphire case is about 13 millimeters. Size for my 7.5 inch wrist, 135 grams. And this is what it looks like on my 7.5 inch wrist. You can see a good curvature to the lugs here. It has female end length, so it sits very well and is very comfortable to wear. Now, the blue on this watch is a very dark blue. In fact, on low lighting conditions, you may not even realize it's not black until you hold it up against something that is black to notice that it does have that blue tint to it. I think that this makes it a very versatile watch, is the color, because it's really going to work with so many colors, and you don't have to worry about the tint of the blue clashing with another type of blue and that type of thing, because it is so dark. And I would argue it is probably one, if not the most versatile watch in the collection, just from both the color standpoint as well as kind of that functionality of going between business casual, sporty, and I'll say fairly dressy. Obviously, with the sub-style layout, that it's not going to be super dressy, but the size of it, as well as it not having a diver's bezel, and it has the highly polished bezel to it, does kind of is able to bump it up to a little bit dressier, but you can also make it more casual by putting on another strap or just by the way you dress. So the BGW9 Superluminova is very well applied on the hands and indices, and is probably one of the brightest and longest lasting of the watches that I have. Obviously, it's hard to compete sometimes when you're dealing with other watches that have the same process, but it's clearly very thickly applied here and does glow up brightly, especially against that dark blue background. This is one where I think you have to see it in person to see just how well finished this watch is. The brushing and polishing is just truly outstanding at this price point. Dome sapphire crystal has a very classy look to it, as does the deep blue. I know some of the other colors have potentially gotten more attention, but I was really surprised by how much I like this piece. Obviously, I bought it, so there was interest in there. I didn't expect to like it quite as much as I do. One area for improvement would be the water resistance specification. It's only rated at 100 meters of water resistance. Obviously, it'd be nice to bump that up to 200, especially since it doesn't have a display case back and whatnot. But I'm assuming that this probably has to do with the sapphire crystal that's used on there, as it does have a screw down crown, and otherwise shares a number of similar properties to other same art watches that are rated at 200 meters. So I highly recommend this one if you're looking for a very versatile piece to add to your collection. And they also offered in other not so versatile color variations if you wanted to add something different. Well, I hope this review has been useful to you. And if you enjoyed this type of content, please like and subscribe to the channel. And using my affiliate links is absolutely most appreciated.